All right, guys, I am here with my friend Matt Dooley. Matt is from Arizona, grew up in Arizona. Is that right?
Yep.
Came to IU, 14, 15 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Played 4 years at IU for the football team.
Yep.
Went and played in the NFL for a little bit. And then he got started in his journey of entrepreneurship, a lot of stuff in media, social media, built a lot of media stuff with his wife. We're going to get into that a lot today. But I'm really excited to chat with you and honored that you made time to come in and talk. And yeah, thanks for coming in on this beautiful Friday.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. And this is just going to be a conversation. It's always fun. It's like the first couple of minutes. You start talking, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, the cameras disappear, the mics disappear, and we're just talking. So yeah, this will be good stuff. And as I was telling you, like, I was really thinking and praying about, like, what are we going to talk about? And when I see you and hear you on social media or interact with you, the first thing that I think of is that you're an incredible man of God and you're an amazing husband, an amazing father. And I want to talk a lot about that today because I think the world needs more men that like to shoot animals like you
and eat them. It's not for sport.
But manly men that love their wives well and love their children well. And you have an incredible story, incredible journey, but it's really just beginning because you're a young dude.
Yeah.
My kids are, 20, 19, 17, and 7. And how old are your boys?
We have a 2.5-year-old. My youngest is turning 2 next month. And then we have a baby girl coming at the end of the summer.
Yes. So. End of the summer. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Coming up.
Incredible. All right. So let's start with, tell me how you got to Indiana.
Yeah. So you touched on it. I got a football scholarship to IU as a long snapper. So I played on special teams, and basically the long snapper is the guy who hikes the ball to the holder on field goals and then to the punter on punts. So you're like the center for special teams, and then you're kind of playing offense and defense on the same play. Yeah. So you have to block or whatever and, deliver a good snap, and then you have to turn in a defender and run down and make a tackle.
Right. Now, are you uncovered, right? Or is that more of an NFL?
So yeah, they can't have a guy head up on you.
Yeah.
But the second the ball snapped, they can, be in the A gap and come in.
Right.
They just have to let you get your head up. But
Gotcha.
They're not very strict on that rule.
Right.
Yeah.
I just remember playing football and we're
tee off on the long snapper. High school football coaches just let it rip.
Yeah. Well,
get in their head.
And it was like my senior year, we won 3 games. And that was the most that they won probably in the previous 15, 20 years, and probably the most they've won since. And so we had a lot of games where we were getting smoked 60-7 and this and that. And I think we would a lot of times take out our frustrations. We're going to line up 7 guys on the long snapper. The one time the team would punt against us again.
Right.
So, yeah. Big Ten wise, who was the most challenging guy that you guys punted to while you were playing?
Oh, man.
The guy that you were just so nervous.
Probably, Ohio State just had some speed demons.
Yeah.
And they had so many guys. I think it was my senior year. They had 10 guys drafted in the first round in 2015 or whatever that was.
Right.
So that, and then when we played Maryland, I think, don't quote me on this, I think Stephon Diggs was returning punts for them.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't know. We had... There were only probably a couple that were taken back when I was there.
Right.
We were decent. We punted a lot when I was there. You want to talk about winning 3 games? I won 1 my freshman year. We won 1 and 11.
Yeah. How many coaches did you guys go through while you were there?
I only had 1 because
nice.
it was Kevin Wilson's first year there.
Got it.
And so I was one of his first recruits that he had picked.
Yeah.
Because I'd reached out to the staff in the fall, didn't hear anything, and then reached out in the spring, and they're like, "Hey, we have a need, so let's bring you in." See a spring ball practice or whatever. And then I got an offer after that. So
yeah.
I got my school paid for. It was a great time.
And you've, your family, like your brother's here, your parents are here now, right? Everybody's calling Indiana home.
Yeah. Yeah. When I came to Indiana on my visit in April of 2011, I hadn't been east of Chicago. Growing up in Arizona, there's just so much, the West is so vast,
right?
Versus that was one of the things I noticed was just all the small towns driving from the airport. This is before I-69 was done. So we were taking 67 down through Martinsville and then over, and you're just seeing the checkerboard signs, and there's just so much character in these small towns. And Arizona, I think, only has 13 counties.
Yeah.
And so, or it's less than 20, but you would drive for an hour and a half and be in the same county. Where if you drive an hour and a half in Indiana, you're driving through like 5 counties.
Right.
Because there's 92 counties here. So, I think just the small town charm, the people are so authentic here. They're actually nice. It's not like the, bless your heart, Southern fake nice.
Right.
It's like, hey, yeah, come over, have a beer. We're watching the game. It's just,
that's awesome.
My first experience with that was when I was visiting my, at the time girlfriend, now wife's family up in South Bend for the first time. And I remember waking up the next morning. We got there on a Friday. I woke up and I was in the kitchen eating breakfast, and the door to the garage opens up and this guy walks in. And he goes, "Oh, hey, I'm Tony. I'm just grabbing some milk."
Yeah.
That's amazing. I was like, you would get shot in Arizona,
I love it.
So yeah, I think just that, and the culture it's just a really healthy culture here. Like you have a community where people like take care of each other. Where in Arizona, you don't really know your neighbors. And here it's like, your neighbors and like throughout the neighborhood.
Right.
Growing up in Phoenix, like you might know your next door neighbor and you just like go in the garage, shut the garage behind you. And so I think seeing that, obviously here, it's a lot lower cost of living.
Right.
It has one of the lowest cost of livings relative to the, median across the United States. And so for younger families, just gives you the opportunity to get that start and plant your roots.
That's good. Is there in the, obviously you've been doing real estate for a few years now. Is there like a ratio, you know what I'm saying? Like where it's like average household income versus the average house, you know what I mean? Like you almost need to create the Dooley index.
Right.
Well, I mean, like, hey, the Dooley index here in this market is this.
Yeah. They've done studies. I think in the 90s it was maybe like 1.5 times your annual income, and now across the country I know it's like 4 or 5x. And so plus interest rates are 7.5%. That doesn't help either.
Right.
So
yeah,
but yeah, I think I was just really taken away by like how like welcoming people are here.
Right.
And my brother moved here last summer. My parents moving out here.
Were they out in Arizona still?
No, my brother was in Charlotte.
Okay.
Him and his wife lived in Charlotte for a few years.
Charlotte's great too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then we went and visited them a couple times. And they moved here, and we had like the coldest winter we've had in 5 years. And he's like, "You told me these winters weren't bad." I'm like,
"Gotcha.
You can always put on another jacket."
Right.
know, Arizona, when it's 90 straight days of 110 plus, like there's only so many layers you can take off before it's illegal.
Well, and this time of the year is when Indiana's just awesome. It's like farmers markets, and it's beautiful.
It's unbelievable. We've had a lot of rain in May, but you get like the summers, spring, summers, and fall make the winter worth it. Like I can put up with 3 months of cold weather.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And it's very mild compared to up in South Bend where you get lake effect snow, and it's not bad.
Yeah. So after Indiana, you went off to Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And tell us about that. What did that look like? Were you drafted? Were you undrafted?
No, I was undrafted, and I had a rookie minicamp invite with the Steelers in 2015, and they didn't sign me that year, and so I was a free agent for that year, and then went to a free agent camp down in Mobile, Alabama. Ran into the special teams coach again. I had improved, and so they ended up signing me in February of 2016. And then I was with the team, did OTAs, and then did part of the preseason, and then got cut after the first preseason game. They had another player go down. I was competing with a 13-year vet, and for those of you who don't know, like you're competing for one of 32 spots in the world, and like the average NFL career is 3 years for long snappers. It's like 8 or 10. And so it's like having an undrafted quarterback come in and say, "Hey, like you have to beat out Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning,
or that guy,
or Drew Brees, or you're gone."
Right? Yeah.
Like, there's no backup.
And if you're a tackle, if you draft a tackle, and he doesn't work out as your starting left tackle, you can move him to right tackle.
Move him around.
And then if that doesn't work, you move him to guard. Right?
Yeah. I mean, in that situation, like I would have cut me over the vet. You know what I mean? Like the learning curve, just the speed difference between college and the NFL is mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's like you have guys who are, my size and bigger who are running sub 540s. Like a guy my size, when I was playing 6'5", 265, there was a first round pick, Bud Dupree out of Kentucky. And I think he ran, he chiseled out of stone, edge rusher. I think he ran like a 4.5 something.
That's crazy.
That's
hauling. Yeah.
And it's not even, it's like, yeah, you have the linebackers who are fast and the edge guys who are fast. But when you see how these offensive linemen move, it's like a Tesla semi-truck.
Right.
Like imagine a semi-truck accelerating like a Tesla Model S Plaid.
Yeah.
Like you don't see that in college.
Yeah.
And I had one of the guys I trained with who played in the league for like 12 years. He told me, he's like, the speed jump from college to the NFL is greater than the speed jump from high school to college.
Wow.
And I didn't believe him at first. And then when I got there, I was like, he's 100% right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's great. Yeah. So when I get together with, we don't get together a lot with the partners, but I love for the guys to tell stories. Ben Smith is a local guy, and he came in as the same freshman class as Drew Brees.
Okay.
And it was within a couple of practices that he was like, I better find another position if I want to stick around. And I think he moved to defensive back or something like that. But yeah, I could understand that. So tell me about when did you and Jordan meet? What did that look like? And what's your guys' story with that?
Yeah, so we met my junior year of college, and we had some mutual friends that she went to high school with. And I had actually walked by her because she had econ right before I did. And so
she was IU.
Getting out. She was at IU. We met at IU. And then I think I followed her on Instagram, and this was like OG Instagram,
right.
And then, Snapchat had just come out. And so we had just gotten connected that way, found out we were neighbors, and then, went over and met her one night, cause I just walked down the street, and we ended up, sitting and talking till 3 a.m. And it was like, I knew, that I was going to marry. I went and told one of my teammates who was my groomsman. I was like, well, I just met the girl I'm going to marry, And so we had a great conversation. It was really like catching up with an old friend. Mm-hmm. It's like when you just have that connection, and you're having deep conversation on your first meeting,
right?
About faith and, what your goals are and family and all that, it's rare.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, stood out so much.
Yeah. Well, and before we really dive into the like we said, husbandhood and fatherhood and stuff, where does your foundation come from, right? Because you being a strong man of faith that really puts your wife first and your kids first, like you're supposed to do. Is that something that your parents modeled for you?
Yeah.
What did that look like?
Yeah. Yeah. So I grew up in a, strong Christian household, mom and dad still married. And that's a major, I credit a lot of that to them. And just, my dad demonstrating, godly, leadership and headship in the household. And my mom, she's got such a servant's heart. And so I think seeing that modeled, it definitely laid the foundation, and them, honestly just instilling, nurturing my faith.
Right.
From a young age, is really crucial. And now that I've become a father, I'm really seeing the importance of how your father's first mission is in his household.
Yeah. Amen.
Like that is who you are responsible for, and that's who you're going to be held accountable to God for, so it's been really cool to see, like we're praying with the boys every night. And, Noah, my oldest, he's already singing, worship songs and hymns, and like he can recite doxology.
Nice.
So like praise God from whom all blessings flow. He'll sing it through. And he's gonna be a singer. He can hold the tune.
Nice.
So
nice.
It's just it's cool, and I think fatherhood really shows you, it opens up a whole nother view of your relationship with God.
Yes. Because
when your toddler's like throwing a tantrum, because they want to eat their third popsicle, and you're like, no, like you're going to get a stomach ache. And it's like, no, it's like, and we'll touch on this later with the other stuff we're going to get into, but it's like, why are you withholding this from me?
Yep.
And it's like, well, because I know, like, I love you and I know what's best for you.
Yeah.
It's not because I am, the angry kid on a ant hill with a magnifying glass.
Right.
Even though it can feel like that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, in scripture can be such a guidepost for us as fathers as well, right? Like Quinn's sitting in the room with, there's so many times where, we would just sit down, we'd have a difficult conversation. We'd open Proverbs. It's like, hey, let's read daily Proverbs together. Mm-hmm. And he would read something and he thought that I was like, setting him up. He was like, oh, did
you write this?
You knew that it was going to say this about honoring your father. And, a father loves when you speak kindly to your mom or whatever. And, but yeah, it's just so helpful. And it's like, the idea of like the 10 commandments are untouchable, and, honor your mother and father is one of those 10 commandments. And
it's the only one with a promise.
Yeah. That's good. So yeah, man, I often say like marriage is hard, right? Yeah. And same thing with parenthood. Marriage without God or parenthood without God, like I don't know how people do it. Mm-hmm. There's, we all go through really hard seasons, and those hard seasons really reveal God's character as well, and and
yours.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It builds our character, because like we as humans just do so much to like not be in relationship with God.
Right.
And then God's, he's just there.
Yeah.
He's just there ready for us, and he desires that relationship. And
yeah, there's a C.S. Lewis quote that talks about trials, and I'm going to butcher it. Maybe you can like put it up on the
right.
But it's basically saying,
we'll like have AI voice go over your voice.
Yeah, and use C.S. Lewis's voice in C.S. Lewis's voice from his radio broadcast.
Right.
Right. But it was basically saying like as I'm going through these trials, I'm butchering this, but like God already knew where my faith was.
Yeah.
Like good. It was like the house of cards that he knocked down, and like those trials revealed that lack to me.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And as your kids continue to get older and new trials come, because I'm on a spoiler alert, it don't get easier. Yeah. But man, it's so worth it. Just as a father of 3 basically adult sons right now, mm-hmm. and a 7-year-old, like it's like we don't always get to stand next to each other at church and worship together, because they're serving in this department, they're doing this or that. But over the last few weeks, we've had the opportunity to worship together, and we had somebody behind us. They're like, "We just love how you guys get to." And I was like, "You have no idea what it feels like as a father, like that." Oh. My boys are belting out worship music, and it's just it's train up your child.
And the way they should go, and they won't depart from it.
Yeah, it is so true. So, coming into this, we talked about how we wanted to talk about husband, what it's like to be a husband, what it's like to be a father. So what did that early stages of relationship where, you are pursuing Jordan, mm-hmm. and, you've got your relationship with God, you also have your athletics and stuff, like what did that look like for you?
Yeah, that was, it was, I mean, you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, like we were just kids,
Yeah.
And we had our disagreements, like when we first started dating, but like at the core, we held the same values, which I think is essential. Like you don't want to be unequally yoked.
Right.
I think given what I was doing in the NFL, like with my NFL aspirations, I guess hindsight, I would have gotten married sooner.
Yeah.
That is like my advice for like younger
I tell
dudes
people that as well,
who are like, it's like if you have a woman in your life who you're like, hey, like she's wife material, there's not a reason to delay it, even if it's career and stuff. It's like God's got it. Like you don't have to make so much money. Like you'll figure it out. You know what is important is like building that foundation and struggling together, because that
mm-hmm.
when you go through struggles, it bonds you even further.
And
you're
preaching to me right now as a father, because like my 2 oldest are in relationship, and like this is like a new fear that's entered into my life and my wife's life, where it's like, how are they going to survive? How are they going to this? How are
mm-hmm.
they going to, when you get married and you're not under this roof, and how much money you got to make, and it's
Yeah, I mean, and those are, the seemingly big trials will seem so small.
Yeah.
But they're preparing you for those bigger ones that you're going to face.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
That's, I mean, it was,
It's good. So after the NFL, What did you jump into career-wise after your time in the NFL?
Yeah, so I guess rewinding a little bit, after I graduated, I'd moved back to Arizona to train, and then we got engaged that summer. Jordan still had another semester of school left. And so I was like, I don't really want to stay in Arizona anyway. I want to move back. And so moved back to Indiana, slept on a buddy's couch. Nice. He had a spare bedroom, air mattress or something, and just started interviewing. And ended up getting an interview with Stryker, which is a medical device company.
Nice.
And I started with them working in their on-site service department for their endoscopy division. So I was in the OR every day, setting up stuff before cases, and really enjoyed that time. And then it was like 5 months into that I had gotten the call back for a workout in Pittsburgh. And so got signed, and then, put in my 2 weeks like a month later before OTA started. And so I left Stryker, did the NFL thing, and then went back to Stryker, I want to say like 10 months after that, and then worked there for another year and a half in the same role. And then around that same time, Jordan was launching her podcast, She Podcast, and she was also getting ready to launch her book. And so I had already had some media experience. My dad was a videographer growing up, and so I had always been around that.
That's where you get it from.
Yeah, had a knack for it, and I enjoy photography, videography. The photography is more of a hobby. But yeah, so she had a need, and we were basically at the point to where what I was earning at that job, I could provide a lot more value to our household by just coming and working with her.
Right.
And it was like our family business effectively. And so we did that. We launched a podcast, and it jumped to number 2 on iTunes, Apple podcast charts. It was ahead of Joe Rogan, and I think it was just behind the Aaron Hernandez like one-off series that they did. But so did that, and then her book launched, I believe, in May of that year, and we had a book tour. I think we hit 12 different cities over the next 4 months. So it was a lot of travel, and we had just bought a house in Westfield, and that was the first home we owned. We ended up selling that and moving a few years later, but and then just started working, for her business for a little bit.
Nice.
After that, and then got into social media consulting kind of through a networking event down at Liberty University, and did media and social media consulting for a client who was out of Virginia for 4 years. And I had started real estate like about a year before I ended that.
Gotcha.
So
nice.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in real estate then?
So I just finished my 3rd year.
Okay. Nice. And primarily Hamilton County, Northern Indianapolis.
Yep. Primarily Hamilton County, North Marion County, Boone County.
Yeah.
But kind of like those northern donut counties.
Yeah. Boone County's growing. Boone County's a nice county. Yeah.
That Leap District and all that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you have such a great eye for content and for videography. I think realtors like you kind of have a built-in advantage for the future, in my opinion, because you can move so much quicker. You could really show lots more detail with houses and really communicate, right? And I love what you do with your YouTube channel. And tell us a little bit about the YouTube channel, your strategy there, why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want the other.
Oh no, I don't gatekeep. Gatekeep. I've got an abundance mentality that's like, hey, if this is going to make you better, getting better is going to force me to be better.
Yep.
So that's how I've been ever since. I was helping out other free agent long snappers. Like, hey, why don't you tweak this? And it's like, why are you helping him? He might get a spot that you don't. And it's like, God's ultimately sovereign. Yeah. So it's like, if I can help him, then I can help him. If I'm supposed to be in the NFL, then I'll be in the NFL. If I'm not, I won't.
Yep.
So, so I started the YouTube channel last March, I believe, because I've been posting on Instagram, and I'll be the first one to say, like, I am nowhere near as consistent as I need to be.
Yeah.
Like, I need to hire an assistant.
Yeah.
I'm like at that point. So started a YouTube channel called Living in Carmel, Indiana. And it's basically just kind of a hub resource for, information about Carmel specifically, but also the surrounding towns in Hamilton County. That's where I specialize. And so that's where I want to, give value to the viewer. Because if you think about it, if you're moving to a new town, you're going to Google, where should I live in best places to live in Charleston.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, here's a list. And so same concept. Carmel's constantly hitting, I think U.S. News and World Report, it just came out last week. Carmel's the number 2 city in the U.S. Was
there another Hamilton County in the top 5?
I know Westfield, Fishers, and Noblesville all
bounce around.
All bounce around within that top 15.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can't go wrong in any of them.
Right.
They each have their own pros and cons. But
yep.
So I was like, hey, I've got this video background. I've done video. Why don't I just take that and apply it to my business?
Yeah. And what's growth look like for you? I know we've talked about this before in the past, but year 1, year 2, like how many homes did you sell?
So
what's that
so volume year 1, I think I did 2 million, and then second year was 4, and then third year was almost 9.
Nice.
So I'm doubling every year.
Yeah.
Trying to keep that trend. It's it's not sustainable long term, just given the median cost of a home
right.
here. But if I can keep I know I need 99% market share.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've seen a positive trajectory from that. I've gotten a lot of YouTube has been my number 1 ROI.
Nice.
As far as like time.
Yeah.
I've hired editors, and so I'm trying to put out a piece of content every week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get better at batch content because the social media game, like you can get burned out if you're constantly having to sit down and record or create something new the day you're posting it.
Right.
Versus like, hey, Mondays are my content creation days.
Yep.
I'm going to sit down and I'm going to record 5 pieces of content. I'm going to get it to my editors, have them cut it up for YouTube, cut it up for shorts and reels and TikTok and all that, and just distribute it that way.
When you say an assistant, what are you thinking about? Like, what type of help do you need? Man. Just so if people are listening.
Yeah.
Because we have a couple of virtual assistants that we interact with. One of them is actually, she's going to be a guest on the show here soon. And I actually purposefully, like, it's very intriguing to me, but I don't want to talk to her until she's actually on the show, because like I want her to explain everything to me for the first time.
Yeah.
So I can ask questions in real time and stuff too. So
yeah, so it might end up being 2, like one, potentially like a real estate assistant. Okay. Which is a lot of times they're already a real estate agent who's just, they're saying, hey, I want to get out of the,
right.
I'm not interested in, selling 20 plus homes a year.
Yeah.
So they're still licensed, so they can still help you out in, real estate related.
Right.
You have to be licensed to do certain things in real estate. So, but also potentially a VA just to kind of say, hey, like, here's your schedule for this week. Here's what I hired a transaction coordinator, to all the realtors watching. Who's your TC? Elisa is phenomenal.
Nice.
Her team's awesome, and it's the best money I've ever spent. Like, that's helped me a ton with my transactions.
Good.
So I've got that taken care of, but then it's like, okay, I need someone to either handle social media and real estate. So maybe it's a real estate assistant who has that, that background, in media. But yeah, that's really kind of what I'm looking for, because I'm getting a lot busier.
Yeah. Good.
One of my clients from YouTube, we got them under contract about a week and a half ago, and they came here from out of town, and I showed them 46 houses in 3 weeks. So there's and a lot of them were in Carmel. The Carmel market is super hot. I know nationally it's kind of shifting towards a buyer's market. I'm just not really seeing that in Hamilton County if it is priced reasonably. Now, if you're asking for, the moon, you're not going to get it. And it's going to sit for a while. So you have the 2 markets. You have the stuff that's going first weekend, multiple offers over ask. And then you have the stuff that is still has snow in their listing photos.
Right. Right.
Why has this been on the market so long? And then buyers start asking questions what's wrong with the house? And so that's one more reason why, it's important to have, to work with an expert who knows where to price the home so that it sells quickly. Because if you can get competition, you can get more than what you were even going to initially list for potentially. So
that's good. That's good. Yeah. And one of my favorite things I love when you share on social media is you love coffee, and
I love coffee. This is homemade, but
hitting up the local coffee shops. So share some of your favorite coffee shops and
oh man, I guess I got to go by because so Westfield Rivet, obviously.
Yeah.
Love Rivet. I think best cold brew up here is Indie Coffee Roasters. I'll drink that black. Like that's excellent. Bova Conti is a great addition to Carmel too.
Yeah, we haven't checked that out yet. I need to take Kelly there.
Yeah, I did it. I did a tour of that up on Instagram. Really cool. They took an old bank building, kept a lot of the original, plaster molding, like trim and stuff, and they kept the original bank vault.
Nice.
And integrated kind of like a working area.
I think Kelly took the boys there.
Yeah,
Quinn, did you guys go to the coffee shop with the vault in it? Quinn is like, Joe Rogan has Jamie.
Right.
Like, hey, Quinn, throw that up on the TV.
Pull that up.
This TV doesn't actually work. Yeah, pull that up. He wasn't listening. It's okay.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's so many good ones. Providence Home and Garden right here in Noblesville is awesome.
Cafe Jardin.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We love Joel and Christy.
Yeah,
and,
they're great folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the, what is it, like a maple, shaken maple?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Shaken maple honey, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's good.
That's unreal. Yeah, so, and between that, there's just so many spots. You go downtown, you've got like Amberson, downtown Indy, Barista Parlor, which is out of Nashville.
Matt is such a coffee snob that he has his office above a coffee shop.
My office is above a coffee shop. Yeah. Dark Side up in Cicero.
Yeah.
That's really good too.
Have you been to Remnant in Arcadia?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that. That space is amazing.
Yes. The first time I went in there, like even before I tried the coffee, I was like, oh my gosh.
What is it? White River Church that owns it? Yeah. So it's like their space, and that is.
I love
everything's growing out that way.
Yeah.
Tipton's going to be a suburb in 10 years.
Yep.
That's how fast stuff is growing.
Yeah.
And we're in, we've had this conversation where it's like, hey, we're looking for land.
Yes.
We don't want to be like crazy far out, but we also don't want to, spend as much as we did on our house just on land.
Yeah.
And that's the direction it's heading.
I like the getting a bunch of people to buy a little village.
The commune.
Not like create a village, but
Right.
actually buy a small town.
Yeah.
And I'm keeping I'm gonna work really hard to make more money. So we could and then 5 years from now when you find the opportunity, then we can
let's
take
do
action
it.
on
Yeah.
And, we've got lots of chickens and we've got some goats.
Call it Yeaterville.
Yeah. There you go.
You get to rename it, reincorporate it.
Yeah. There you go. So you and Jordan, how long you guys been married?
We have been married now. It'll be 9 years this year.
Okay. Wow.
So
congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
And how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys got married young.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
And you still would have got married earlier.
Yeah. I would have got, yeah. Looking back, I'm like, man, we should have gotten married earlier. We should have started trying for kids earlier. It's like you just look back and it's like that's why I tell, there's a few younger guys I mentor and it's like, hey, do you find the right girl, marry her and start having babies.
Yeah.
Like you'll never be ready for kids.
Right.
It's like, just start, you'll figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. All right. So let's talk a little bit about you and Jordan been married for 9 years. Some of the struggles that you guys had early on when it comes to pregnancy, and miscarriages.
Yeah.
Tell me like the perspective of, what that was like for you, right? Like how did you, because you're going through suffering yourself, you're going through pain yourself, but then also you want to be the man that your wife needs in that moment. And, we had 2 miscarriages.
Yeah.
And, I did not have the relationship with the Lord that I do now. And man, that's like, there's a time of regret there for me that I wish I would have been there more for Kelly.
Yeah.
And the miscarriages are way more common than people talk about. Like people just don't talk a lot about it. But then when you finally talk to somebody about it, it's like everybody has struggled with that or going through that. So I know you have such a unique perspective and, and then what God did with you guys on the other side of that is just hilarious and incredible.
A story only he could write.
Yeah, absolutely. But talk me through that.
So we had 3 miscarriages. We had our first, beginning of 2020. And then, the second one was, I want to say it was shortly after that. I want to say it was like the next year in 2021, like around May of 2021. And then we experienced secondary infertility where we couldn't get pregnant for an extended amount of time. And then that was 2022. Memorial Day weekend was our third. And so, yeah, I mean, just going through that, it's really hard because you're not physically going through what your wife is going through. And you also have a need to grieve, but the more pressing issue at hand is your wife and like taking care of her. Cause you're not physically going through it, you know? And then, you know, obviously there's a lot of identity that's tied up in motherhood for women.
Right.
It's just innate, you know, it's neither good nor bad, you know,
Yeah.
but it's like, well, what am I less of a woman, you know, if I can't carry a baby to full term or whatever. So I found it was, you know, the first miscarriage was hard. The second one I feel like was the hardest out of the three, because the first one was at like 7 weeks. And the second one was at like 13. And so it was later on. And like we were in the safe zone. And I think that's what made it so hard. And so with stuff like that, like I had to basically like shove all that down, you know, like, all right, like we'll deal with that later. You know, like I've got to take care of her. You know? And, you know, also like lead her spiritually, but you're also wrestling with doubts and
hopelessness.
Like,
I remember that was like,
and just
what have I done to deserve this?
Yeah.
And, you know, you start having all those conversations with God. So.
And then you read the Psalms and you're like, oh,
right.
The man after God's own heart, like asks all of these same questions.
Yep.
Like, why are you silent, O Lord? Like, like, why do my enemies prosper and I'm like here in the pit, you know, like that's like, there's a lot of that you go through. And, I think learning to trust God throughout those things. 'Cause I remember there was definitely a time, where I never doubted God's existence, but I doubted his goodness. And it's like, why does this keep happening? Like it feels like you're kind of like dangling it in front of our face.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, sorry, just kidding. You know? And I mean, we know like in hindsight, it's like, well, heck, like we were getting pregnant. Like I know a lot of people who can't get pregnant. Right. And so it's like, yeah, you're going through tough things, but there's always a perspective, that you'll see in hindsight. So yeah, I mean, it was really difficult. Like I just felt like you're questioning like the purpose of prayer. It's like, well, what's the point, you know? And it's not about like, God's not a genie in the bottle, right? Where it's like you get 3 wishes. It's like, no, like he wants you to have a relationship with him. And so in the midst of those things, like going through, I just read Job recently, and you're like, wow, like, losing all 10 of his kids, right? You know, like covered in sores. His wife's telling him to curse God and die, and he wouldn't, you know. And I think, you know, when you go through suffering, as a Christian, it becomes apparent how false like the name it and claim it kind of prosperity gospel is.
100%.
Because it's like, it's not about faith. Like I know quadriplegics that are in wheelchairs that have greater faith than anyone I know. Right. You know? So if it was about faith, they'd be healed. Yep. When in reality, it's God's will. And I think when you read Job, you can't look at Job's story and say like, oh yeah, it was, you know, he didn't have enough faith, so that's why God did all this to him. It was like, no, like if you read the end of Job, there's a passage where it's like Job's friends and family came around him. It's in like the 40th, 41st, 42nd chapter. And they basically like comforted him. Says they comforted him for I want to say it was like the pain and suffering that the Lord did to him. Right. Not the devil. Right. And it's really easy to just be like, oh, well, but like God permits certain things to happen. My wife interviewed someone on her podcast. I forget who it was. But she said God permits what he hates to accomplish what he loves. Huh. And like when you see that now where we're at in our story, you're like, oh,
right.
I kind of understand that now.
And I think so much of it as well is, you know, when we get to heaven,
yeah,
there's going to be clarity on these things
Yeah.
that are just, we just can't wrap our head around.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that there's a lot of that, right?
Yeah. We're finite creatures. We don't have
Right.
the infinite mind of God,
Yep.
you know, and we live in a finite timeline.
Yep.
God's outside of that.
Yeah.
And so it's like he's the author of the story.
Amen.
Like he knows when everything's going to happen. And there's times where he's writing himself into the story,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
that, like, I call those miracles, you know,
absolutely.
and that's where your prayer life is essential.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what was that tipping point for you guys, where, you know, that those miracles start to happen for you guys?
Yeah. So when we got married, we had always talked about adoption, and we wanted to adopt. And as we were going through this timeline, it was like, well, you know, we worked, like in the midst of this, we did some stuff with Safe Families, which is respite care. It's essentially like short-term foster care. And they've got different, you know, not branches, but, I'm spacing it. I forget the word, but yeah. So different cities will have different Safe Families.
Got it.
And so basically, if there's a situation where the mom's in a tough spot, you'll take the kids for X amount of time.
Right.
And we had taken in two young girls who were, I want to say, like 16 months and 8 weeks, and it was only supposed to be like a week-long stay, and it ended up being 2 months, and it almost turned into a potential adoption situation. And when that came up, we had to have that conversation again. It was like, well, we always talked about this, like. And it was like, yeah, 100%, like we would adopt. And so, thankfully, that situation ended up working out where they were able to go back with their mom. But it also prompted us to, hey, let's get the ball rolling on this adoption. And so we had started going through that, I want to say early 2022. And then we got pregnant for the third time in April, and then miscarried at the end of May. And we went active. I want to say it was, like a month after that, as far as like the adoption process. And we matched with Noah's birth mom in July, which was awesome. And then we found out later that month that he was a boy.
Yeah.
And so, but it was also something that we held close to our chest, just given our past history. I think both of our parents knew, and then one set of close friends, just because we had already, you know, had 3 instances where it's like, hey, we're pregnant.
Right.
Just kidding. Hey, we're pregnant. Another miscarriage. We're pregnant. Another miscarriage. So it's like, let's wait until this is finalized, because there's a lot of uncertainty in adoption too, especially with newborn adoption. And so we matched in July, and then in November, it was November 1st, day after Halloween, we found out we were pregnant with Shepherd. And it was just kind of like, what? Like, okay, so let's see. Noah's doing January. So like we have the potential of having two kids 5 months apart, and we waited till birth to find out the gender.
Yeah.
For Shepherd, which was a really cool experience. Made it very hard to pick a name though. We had a girl name picked out at the time, but like it took us 3 days to name him after he was born. He was just baby, Baby Dooley.
Yeah.
And you know, with our history, we're all right. Well, let's see how this plays out. And he just kept growing.
Yeah.
And like, all right, we're through 12 weeks. We're through 16, 20, 24. And, so he came, at 37 weeks and, perfectly healthy. He's a blast, man.
So 2022, no babies.
2023,
2023.
Yeah.
The first half of 2023.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people God was like, oh, you want kids?
Yeah.
All right, here's some kids.
Remember when you said you believe in abundance?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like who am I to say what God can do?
Right.
And and, you know, seeing that and, you know, holding Noah for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, adoption is such a, you know, reflection of the gospel.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way that, like, we're all adopted, you know, as sons and daughters. And, like, Noah didn't pick us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was like, no, like, we love you. And there's no doubt, like, you're my son.
Yep.
Like, biologically, like, we don't share DNA, but, like, you're my son.
Yep.
You know, like, there's no question. Like, I have people ask me that from time. Like, well, do you think?
Right.
No, that's not a chance. Like,
yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so incredible. And so the boys are, how old are the boys again?
Noah will be 2.5 next month, and Shep's turning 2 next month.
And they're how far apart?
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So they're best buds.
Yeah.
I've been taking them for bike rides in the, you know, bike trailer, and showing them, going fishing, showing them the fish I catch. They're, you know, want to hold it, you know, holding the fish, and they know a bass and a bluegill.
That's amazing.
And a crappie. You know, it's like, catch another big bass.
Right.
You know.
Right. I love it.
So
I love it. And then the baby girl's going to be here.
Baby girl. Yeah.
When's she coming?
Probably end of July to mid-August, I'd say.
Got it.
Somewhere in that time frame. Shep came early, so we're anticipating that she's probably going to be here a little early.
Gotcha.
But we'll see.
Gotcha.
So
That's
that's going to be a total change. We've, you know, I was like, yes, we're having a girl. We get some estrogen to balance out these feral boys.
Right.
And everyone I've talked to that has 2 girls and a boy is like, no, she's going to be worse.
Yeah, that's
she's going to be even crazier than the boys because she's
Yeah.
learning from her big brothers.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to being a girl dad, and already have a couple nieces. My brother's got a couple girls, and so it's cool to have the cousins, you know, all together.
Right.
And to have my whole family together for the first time in 14 years.
That's incredible.
Is really awesome, you know, to be in this stage of life and raising our kids together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I remember Dr. Matt introduced us.
Yep.
We got together at Everbowl back when there was like only 2 Everbowls around.
Yeah, that was
Indiana.
one at Hamilton Town Center.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, you shared your story of the loss and stuff, and then I feel like we ran into each other at the doctor's office, and like, you have a baby. I'm like, what? How did this happen?
Yep.
And then you're like, well, funny you ask. And, we actually have another one coming here soon as well. So, man, I'm just so happy for you guys.
I appreciate it.
You know, because getting a little bit of a glimpse of who you are as a man and stuff, and fatherhood's so cool. It really is. And it'll be just an incredible journey and roller coaster, and you know, all that stuff. You know, as you're building a business, and you know, potentially businesses that, you know, you can integrate your kids, they could be a part of the process, and that's something that I encourage people. You know, my wife made the decision to pull Quinn out of school actually first, before his older brothers, and then the next week pulled the 2 older brothers. And one of the most exciting things for me was, you know, I worked in retail, and I would get home sometimes at 7 or 8 o'clock, and the boys had to be to bed to wake up the next morning. So I just got so much more quality time with my kids. Yeah. But then also just like traveling, Quinn and, you know, his brothers traveled all over the Midwest with me, going to visit Verizon stores, stuff like that. So it's like, you know, and now that they're, you know, the age that they are, like I've earned that right to be, have a voice in their life and be their friend, and, you know, still be their father first, but, you know, be their friend and go through the challenges and the victories and all that fun stuff. So, man.
Yeah, there was, you talk about that. There was a podcast I listened to called The King's Hall. Mm-hmm. There's some, they're Christian pastors out in Ogden, Utah. And they did an episode called Recovering the Family Economy, or Recovering the Productive Household. And it talks about the family economy and how up until, you know, the industrial age of late 1800s, early 1900s, if your dad was a blacksmith, you were a blacksmith, and you worked in that business, and, you know, mom handled the books and like took care of the home and, you know, whatever. And so I think it's kind of cool, like in this, you know, post-industrial age now with AI on the horizon, right? Just kind of looking like I think you're going to see a massive return to like hard skills as far as like the trades, because I think the average tradesman is like 52 years old. Yeah. And so we're coming up on we're reaching the end of the road where it's like we need a lot more people in these fields. Yep. And so it's like, for me, like, I don't want my boys to go to college. Right. At this point, like I think I took stuff from like 2 classes in 4 years that I'm like actively applying.
Right.
And so I'm like, hey, let's start a business.
Yep.
You know, start, here's some capital up front, get it up and running.
Oh yeah.
You need help, or you come and join what dad's doing or mom's doing. And,
Yep.
and, or if you want to go to trade school, go, work with your, I think Shep is going to be a tradesman. Like just the way he loves to like take stuff apart, put it together. Nice. Noah's going to, I think Noah might go to college because he's going to be get a doctorate in something. Like he's just, brilliant.
I love it.
So, yeah.
That, I think, like that's where my heart is, and my wife, and I would say even our boys, we enjoy each other, and we have big goals as a family. We have our hands on a lot of stuff right now, and eventually, we're going to kind of tighten that up, and we want to do some stuff together. And like you said, family economy, where it's like, an example would be Owen owns a business. My son Owen bought Indie Photo Fund, digital photo booth business. And, this past Saturday, I was working a wedding for 7 hours for him. And Kelly puts in 30 to 40 hours a week, working for him. And that, some people would call that, like entitlement or whatever you want to call it. But no, he has the advantage because we as parents care about him, and we're willing to do extra to help him launch his business and be successful. Yeah. Same thing with his brothers. Quinn helps from time to time, Mason helps from time to time. And when Quinn's ready to start his business, we're going to be right there.
Well, you're on a team.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Jeff Bethke, started this thing called Family Teams. And it's about the concept of like, hey, look, this is what these are our team values. Like, this is what we say. It's not that the family has been so atomized where it's like dinner time is just like you come home, you eat a meal, you scroll on your phone, you go to bed. Right. Versus like, hey, like if you're homeschooled or, you're old enough to work in the family, it's like the family's constantly interacting. Yep. And it's not like, oh, you're 18, see ya, you're on your own. It's like, let's build something. Like, hey, here's a part of our property that you can build on, you know? And it's not you're thinking generationally. Like the decisions I make today, I'm making for my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, and that's the legacy that I want to leave. I don't want to just, hey, life's short, live it up. Right.
Absolutely. Well, a great man of faith passed away recently, Phil Robertson.
Yeah.
People,
talk about a patriarch.
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest thing that I took away from him, I just loved how his deep relationship that he had with his kids, right? And listening to his podcast, the Unashamed podcast, it was so freeing to understand that this mighty man of God who knew the Bible like better than anybody that I did, he learned the Bible because he just kept reading it over and over again. And on lunch breaks, while they have their duck call business, they would sit there and, they would go to the house and Kay would have lunch ready for them, and they would crack open their Bibles and they would debate like, oh no, this is what this means. And this is what this means. But like, they knew the word of God because and it was freeing for me to where I was like, oh, I don't have to, you're going to get the knowledge by spending the time and getting in relationship with the word of God. Yeah. And, so we do that.
And it's not just something you can outsource to your pastor.
No.
It's like, you've got to lead your kids and train them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, and just, I love when we would read through the word of God, and I would always, when something was, I would think funny or something was like kind of weird, I would always like pause. Let's talk about this a little bit. And I always got a kick out of how Jesus sometimes would get like annoyed with the disciples. Like they would be like, he would say like, you could tear this temple down and I'll rebuild it in 3 days. And they were looking at each other like, well, how's he going to, he can't do that. How can he do that? It's like, come on guys, get with me here. It can be enjoyable, but he's such a great example of integrating family into business faith. And that dude obviously made massive mistakes when he was younger. Right. But he had that person, he had his sister. His sister was the one that went to the local pastor and was like, go win Phil over and he's going to win thousands of people to Christ, and went and pulled him out of a bar, and put a Bible in his hand. And it's just incredible. But I love the idea of that we're building something that, we're building a foundation that, yes, finance is going to be a part of that, but like grounded in the word of God, respecting your wife, raising kids that, kind of have that same operating system. And it's just it's nothing new, but
Right.
it's something that just
We need to
doesn't
return.
exist like-
Yeah, we have to return to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, that's what Christianity was for 1900 years.
Right, right.
You know, so it's like getting back to that. And yeah,
Yep.
you're going to be out of fashion. You're going to look weird to the world, but you got to remember, like, if the world hates you, remember they hated me
Yeah.
first.
Yep.
You know, and so
And if you look at other cultures,
yeah,
and you look at the way that they operate businesses, you know, the way that they operate real estate, right? Like that's what they're doing,
yeah,
right? You know, they're you know, I talk to a lot of people in the franchise space with Everbull, and you know, a lot of other cultures, you know, their aunt and uncle own this business, and they're going to help me start
Yep.
this business, and they're going to help fund the down payment for this, and
Right.
they're just all building
all-
empires together.
yeah.
So
It's having that long-term vision.
yeah, tell me a little bit more. You said Jeff was the guy the teams.
Yeah, Jefferson Bethke.
Okay,
Yeah, family teams.
gotcha. Is he a local guy?
No, he was in Maui. They just moved to Franklin.
Okay.
So they're down
Gotcha.
in Franklin, Tennessee, not
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah. Franklin, Indiana's pretty.
It's got its
awesome, too.
charms. Yeah.
Yes. It's like a mini Franklin,
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Very, very mini
Yeah.
Franklin, Tennessee. Yeah. So what are you excited about? What are you working on? You know, what are the next 6 months to a year? Obviously, the baby coming is a lot. I know you guys, you and Jordan, you know, probably are always dreaming and thinking, but is there anything you want to share with the audience?
Yeah. So I'm really excited about the real estate market in Hamilton County. I'm seeing, like, it's very reminiscent of the summer of 2022, where, you know, the spring I'm seeing a lot of like multiple offer situations that you typically I didn't see last year or the year before that. And so getting into the summer, I think people have just kind of come to terms that interest rates are never, like, we probably won't see the 3s again,
Right.
much less the 2s.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of like, hey, what's the best way to get into this market?
Right.
And so I think we're seeing a lot of growth there, just due to, you know, Indiana's very pro-family, pro-business, and it's very desirable to a lot of people coming from out of state. I'd say probably 30% of my business is relocations.
Nice.
And not through like a relocation firm, just direct reach out. And I attribute a lot of that to the YouTube channel and social media.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think just seeing how, you know, all 4 cities in Hamilton County are the big ones, are kind of collaborating and working together, whether it's, you know, connecting the Midland Trace up to, oh gosh, what's the trail in Noblesville?
I'm not sure.
There's basically going to be a 50-mile loop.
Yeah,
throughout,
yeah, they're like
Noblesville, Fishers,
they're doing like
Westfield,
this
and Carmel.
super roundabout with like paths and stuff.
Yeah,
underneath
right
it.
at Hague
Yeah.
Road there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be shut down for a little bit, but yeah, and then on the family front, baby girl coming. We bought a rental property.
Yeah.
So I'm getting into the rental space.
Yeah, that was actually
short-term
something
rental.
I wanted to call out as well, because Matt has worked with multiple investors in Hamilton County, because Hamilton County is a great opportunity, not just to own your primary home, but also own an investment property as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, you have draws, you know, with like Grand Park and Ruoff, and they just announced that they're building the water park in Sheridan.
Yeah.
Up at 216th and 31.
just down the road from our secret property.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the future Yeaterville.
Whoville, we'll call it.
Yeah,
Whoville.
Whoville.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
The Pacers G League team coming down the boom. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pumped about that.
I mean, it is like you're gonna have that right over in Noblesville,
Right.
near Ruoff. So yeah, I mean, it's. Sorry, 1 second. We'll cut that.
I could take a water break. Will you get a little bit more behind the scenes content? Like, even get up and stand here to get some of him and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Cool. You good?
Yes. You'll have been recording for like 5 seconds, an hour. So.
No way. That's hilarious.
Flies by.
Yeah. Cool. We'll be done soon.
Cool. And there we go.
That's hilarious. Anything else you want to cover?
Gosh. We can just touch on the short term rental space.
Okay.
where the boys are going to swim lessons and they're entering the phase where they have to wear like winter coats when they fall in the pool.
So we did that with Augie.
Yeah.
It is be thankful you're not there.
Yeah.
Kelly was like, there's no way you could go. Cause she was like,
Yeah.
you'll be like diving in the pool.
Right.
You'll be diving in the pool
Oh, I
after
know.
them. So where are they going for that?
It's ISR.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah. So a friend of ours lives up in North Harbor.
Nice.
Or like Harbor Trees.
Yeah.
And they built like an above ground pool in addition next to their garage.
Nice.
They just put it on a slab there and
Yeah.
they call it Big Bath.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
amazing.
been great. They screamed for the first 2.5 weeks and we're like, I don't think this is working. And then
Right.
it clicked. And now it's like, oh, want to go to Big Bath? You know,
Yeah.
they scream when we're leaving
That's
versus when we're
hilarious.
going.
Yeah.
So
It is so worth it, actually.
Yeah.
So when we were putting a pool in 3 years ago, that was part of like the requirements for Kelly was she wanted to make sure that Augie was
ISR.
trained.
Infant swim rescue,
Yeah.
I believe it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the snowmobile suit and then
Yep.
and then kick them in the pool and see
Yeah.
see what happens. Like, yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It works. Thank God for it. Because
Yeah.
like Augie's a little fish now and like swim to the bottom of the
Mhm.
pool and
Oh,
yeah. I also wanted to highlight that Hamilton County is a great place for investment property opportunities. You mentioned Grand Park, but other great opportunities, and people need places to stay.
yeah. I mean, especially like our target was Grand Park because I'd helped some other investors find some places there. It's getting more and more difficult to find a place just with HOA restrictions. Fisher's
Right.
just passed a rental restriction or a rental cap, which will be interesting to see how they sort that out. But yeah, I mean, I talk to people all the time, like when I'm gassing up in Westfield. Oh, where you're here for a tournament. They're wearing their jerseys or whatever.
Yeah.
Where are you staying? Oh, Greenwood.
That's crazy.
And they're like from Chicago and they're
Right.
staying in Greenwood.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, there's definitely a need here.
Yeah.
And if we can, provide a nice place to stay, because we've stayed at a lot of Airbnbs, like we love them. I definitely understand why people don't want them in their neighborhoods, but I make an effort
Yeah.
to meet the neighbors and say, hey, this is the situation. Like, here's my number. Give me a call if you have any problems. Like, I'll address it, because I want to create a beneficial relationship, in the neighborhood and have it be an asset, not, a liability.
I got to meet with the mayor of Westfield, and
Yeah.
I was asking him. I said, "What's your opinions on Airbnb?" And he said, "As a mayor, I hate them." And he was like, "As a businessman, I love them."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I understand it. I think I don't know, it'll be interesting. I think that there's going to be like this. There probably should be like this next level of that local government needs to take, where it's like, there's this need, we want to do this,
Right.
but like in order for you to have an Airbnb or whatever, a short-term rental, these are the requirements that you need to meet.
Right.
Just keep enhancing that, because there is such a need for that, and there's only so much that the hotels can handle, and the hotels don't deliver the experience that a high
Where
quality
you can get
Airbnb
multiple families in a room for the cost of a hotel.
Right.
It's half of that.
Right.
So you're saving a ton of money. You've got a nice place to cook, a backyard if you have
Yep.
pets and you want to leave your pets out or whatever.
So mayors of the towns, let's sit down with Matt and I,
Yeah.
and let's figure something out, right?
Yeah,
Because it's also goes back to like what I'm really passionate about, which is localized small business,
Right.
And it's like we can keep that money in the hands of our neighbors instead of these big hotel chain owners.
Yeah,
or
and
whatever
I
it is
get
that
it. Like, people don't want BlackRock buying up every
Right.
home and turn it into a rental.
Yep.
But it's like if you have local investors who don't have a massive portfolio, you're talking like small time landlords who are providing a service. You're a service provider. That's like, I see that as a net benefit.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if there's ways that you can say, hey, you have to be an Indiana resident,
Right.
or a resident of the town to, whatever that is. There's certain criteria you have to meet.
Yep.
I'd be open to having that discussion.
Yeah. Down in Brown County, which
Yeah.
obviously is
You have to have a certain amount of acreage, and
Right.
you can't be, you
well, it's got to be managed. It's got to be managed by somebody local as well. Like there has to
Right.
be somebody local.
Yep.
Right. We own properties in Tennessee and in Branson, Missouri, and North Carolina, and we manage them all remotely. We've got our cleaners, we've got our maintenance people and stuff.
Yeah.
But in Brown County, So yeah, there's ways to figure that out and work through that and stuff. So yeah, we are, we're taking the golf cart. We'll be driving by your office tonight. We're going to town for some dinner with some friends.
10 West? Or?
Yeah. I think we're going to, our friend that we're meeting with she's pregnant. So it's like whatever she wants.
Right.
Her husband was like,
Dolulas,
she might want Mexican. She might want an Italian. There is a new Mexican place on 19 that we could drive to. I would love to go to 10 West, but I don't think we're gonna do that. We might go to Broncos, which have you done Broncos home from? Yeah, Broncos is ridiculous. Yeah. So Quinn's over there hoping that we do Broncos, so I could bring some. Yeah. I could bring some home. Anything else you want to share?
No.
Yeah. Awesome.
I just appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you being a friend, being a part of the Bulls in Business community as well, stopping in from time to time. Yeah. We've been at Pickler, so I don't know if you've picked up a pickleball.
Haven't been yet.
Yeah.
Are they building a new one in Westfield?
They are. They're working on one in Westfield. But yeah, obviously with the baby coming in might be hard. I think I'm hopeful that we're going to continue because Pickler actually worked out really well. Yeah. And I played for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I woke up the next day and I could still walk. Yeah.
So you weren't doing singles then.
Yeah. No, there's no way that I'm doing that. So yeah, man, I just proud of you, and just really like honor and bless you as a father and as a husband, and pray that you guys are making a massive kingdom impact. You and Jordan make your wife's obviously a rock star, but you are too. Yeah. And you do such a great job of, honoring her in everything that you do. But keeping God at the front, man. So just keep doing your thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to tip your server. I don't know why I said that, but anyway.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Folks.
Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Yeah. I need Augie here to close this out. But, all right. Thanks guys.